And we're back here with main event with Dale Hellestrae, 17-year NFL veteran. Uncle Lou, VSIN, Gamblu.com, VSIN contributor, and then me. I'm here too.
Yeah.
The other guy. If something happened to this building right now, it would be Dale and Lou and some guy.
You
got
probably
taken out.
read about Lou and I in the New York Times, and then there was an unidentified person
Yes,
caught in the
exactly.
fire.
Lou never won 3 Super Bowls, so I'll put a pedestal between Dale and Steve and myself. Thank you very much.
I told you guys that I will right after this. I'll stay out of your business, but I do have a bone to pick with Uncle Lou. So I thought him and I were buddies. We've known each other for, I don't know, a decade now. And I thought he'd soften a little bit. I know he's a hardened Omaha guy that didn't care for anybody, run over your mother to win a football game. But I thought he'd soften. So I follow him on Twitter. He's interesting. A lot of them I don't understand when he's talking about fighting. But he made a comment the other day, Lou. You were talking about East Coast time versus West Coast time and how great it is to live on the West Coast when you have these 8:50 Eastern time tip-offs or first pitches or anything happening on the East Coast.
Yes, I mean, I believe that.
Yes.
I mean, for me, that's just, I was expressing opinion.
Yes.
Okay.
And so then I chimed in. I said, but Lou, I do too. And I said, back in the 90s, late 90s, I'm a 38, 39, 40-year-old playing in New York and Philadelphia and Washington on Monday Night Football. And back then they kicked off at 9 o'clock Eastern time. 9 o'clock. And I'd come in at halftime, and I distinctly remember at Giant Stadium walking in at halftime and looking at the clock, and it said 10:50. 10:50. And I'm going, it's freaking halftime. It's 10:50. I'm 40 years old.
Actually, those are the insights that we try and get from you that we can never get. And I do believe that. That said, anyone listening to this would give their right arm, for lack of a better saying, to be in a position to have to play a game. If it was in hey, Louie, you get to play one NFL game. You get to play for XYZ team, but the game's at 2 a.m. And okay? So that's what I was ribbing you about. I guess it's tough for an NFL guy, making all this coin and going to these late night parties with Mike Irvin and having the call girls hanging all over you.
Wow. Not at 40. Not at 40. Oh. And old Lou goes, "Oh, we feel for you, Dale."
Yeah, I thought that was good. That was kind of a little bit below the belt there.
And then I came back with, that did not sound sincere.
That was the best comment.
All right.
Let's get into it.
Fun.
Yeah, we're having some fun today here on this Thursday. And Lou, tell everybody, we got a numbered event this week. Just tell everybody where they can find you, where they follow you, your sneak peek, your other podcasts.
Right. Uncle Lou has a web page. It's Gamblu.com. Please go there to find out everything about me. We're going to make it short because there's so much to cover. But the key to the Gamblu web page, Kobe, if you'll scroll back up, the podcasts are there. Yeah, all the Gamblu stuff is there. And I trust gamblers that are interested in the website will find what you need if you give it a few minutes and look through it. But what I want to draw everyone's attention to, and what Steve lets me do, is highlight the San Xavier mission. That is the oldest mission in the United States. That's tab was flashed at the top of the webpage. You see it here. That's the mission page. If you tap on the San Xavier tab at the top of the homepage. And so, oldest mission in the United States, just located south of Tucson. They're doing great work there. We're regular contributors to their cause, and we just want to highlight the mission as Steve lets us do it. So that's an indigenous Arizona entity. Other than that, thanks so much for having me, Steve, and it's going to be a real treat having Dale with us. Yeah. Because we don't get that, and it's kind of fun.
I told Dale he's got to study up on all these names of UFC guys because it's his turn today to take a shot at him.
Well, we got we got college baseball is getting warm.
Yeah.
Hockey playoffs are literally 10 days or 2 weeks away. And so we're getting into a really excellent time of season for me, and the backbone to it is each week I get a USC event.
Let's roll through before we
hold
get
on,
into the
real quick.
USCs. Go ahead.
Real quick. Baseball,
Yeah, look to my
college
right.
baseball. You've always said below the Mason-Dixon line, below the
Yes,
Mason.
sir.
And but now there's a couple Big Tens that are getting involved in it, but that's UCLA and
Yeah,
teams like that.
Yeah, it doesn't change my geography.
Okay, all right.
I still think Nebraska or Rutgers, and for that matter, there's another team from the north that could do well. They're the exception, not the rule.
Okay.
You need to be in the warm.
Okay.
Yeah, the Big Ten school, like I said, is UCLA, Oregon State's up there.
But a coastal school,
Exactly.
they're in our futures list and have been from the beginning.
There was another Northern, Virginia's highly ranked right now, 13.
Usually is. Interesting thing there that O'Connor, the coach, went to Mississippi State. And so Mississippi State's doing great this year. Looks like the coach behind Virginia's not missing a beat either.
Yeah, so you get a few of those Northern. So Boston College is ranked right now as well at 23. They snuck in there.
They'll be tough.
Yeah.
I mean, it'll be tough for them not that they can't.
So we're going to run through the other sports here. So that's college baseball, but golf Masters is going on right now. I know you're a big Masters fan in golf. You posted, so follow Lou also. You didn't highlight it. He highlighted the mission first, which I appreciate, but still give you some love. Sneak Tea podcast came out Sunday this week for you guys, Sunday or Monday. The after the weigh-ins Friday, you get the About Business podcast as well. And then follow him on Twitter at Gamblu as well.
I never mentioned that.
Yeah, and this is why though. An hour ago, you put out your picks for the Masters here. That you've and by the way, you bet these. You don't just put them out there.
Those are my bets.
You're betting them, yes.
And so I tend to be very conservative. I tend to, especially when I'm really not in my lane. I don't come up here and tell you guys about golf every week.
Right.
I don't expect to know. But I went to the 3 top golf handicappers in the business, and I texted them because we're like that. I said, listen, you get one bet to make in the Masters, and it can be on anything. First round leader, top 20, I don't care what it is.
Right.
But it has to cash. What's your pick? 3 guys give me 3 answers, and you can see that.
Were they all same answers?
The only bet that I made on mine that varied was Matsuyama. That's my pick. It's probably the one that'll lose, too.
Well, I don't know. Matsuyama top 20. That was according to you at the time you placed it plus 100.
Plus one, just dead even.
I think that's pretty good odds for top 20 for him.
He tends to do well there.
Yeah.
He has a good disposition. The breakdown for the Masters is you want to have success there before. Well, Matsuyama's won.
Yep.
You want to be somewhat mature, although young doesn't hurt. And so the experience and knowing how to play it, like for instance, a guy like DeChambeau, you fade him because he's mechanical. Everything to him is geometry and math.
Yeah. He's playing a 5-iron this week that he crafted himself from a 3D printer. Literally, he made it for this golf course.
Great. Yeah. So he knows what he's trying to, but I don't think a guy like him.
That's how technical he is.
Yes, I just don't think he's going to ever be able. I don't think you can make that application to a place that it requires so much finesse and understanding.
And
that's
feel.
just exactly same thing.
Yeah.
And so we're on Thursday. It's the beginning of the Masters. It's really exciting because all my bets have not lost right now. So I'm very fired up.
I like
He's ready to go. You have Auberg also as your other bet there. Like I said, you put this
top
at hour
20.
ago.
These guys, one of the answers was Auberg top 10.
Okay.
I bet it top 20. I tend
Did
to be
you get better odds as the top 20 than you did at top 10, I assume?
No,
worse odds.
No,
I guess,
I had to pay minus 145. At top 10, I'm getting plus 125.
Okay.
So, but that said, I want to cash the ticket. I don't care about them. I just want to be able to cash the ticket. I'm trying. My goal is to cash tickets. It's fun for me to win. I'm too much. I do this to compete. I don't want to lose.
What is this bet? 274.5 over.
Yes.
You got that at a minus 125 odd, but what is that signifying?
That signifies the winner's score over under.
Right.
And that equates
Just the
to
winner.
that equates to like a 89, a 79 or a 78.9
But just the winner. So the winner of the tournament.
69 each day.
Your math is you fit in perfect here with math.
The winner's number. Yeah, I started 20 strokes.
Yeah, no, but just the winner. So whoever wins the tournament
is going to shoot
over
13 under par, and if he shoots 13 under par, he's going to go under 274.5, and I will lose.
Okay.
If he shoots 10 under par, he will have gone over the 274.5, and I will win. Dale and I were talking off air that what I was hearing, and I've been listening to the Golf Channel, is that there's no rain forecast. It's beautiful weather, warm and breezy, and that's going to dry the course out. And by the end of the weekend, they're going to be playing on ice skating rink. So I'm hoping that the scores don't get out of hand. It surely adds a dimension of interest when you're watching these scores, because really I see Patrick Reed -5. I'm like, I need Reed. I like Patrick Reed, but I need him to make a double.
You're already betting that. You're already watching that and paying attention to that.
That's how I'm looking at it at this point. I just can't have anybody up there at 11 under with 8 guys trying to catch him at 6 under.
Trying to hit that side. Exactly.
Some guy comes out unconscious. All right, so that's golf.
So that's why you follow Lou at Gamblu as well. He does it during UFC fights. He puts it out there. And things. And then hockey, of course. The Avalanche have clinched the #1 seed in the West. The East side of it, as I pull it up here, you see we have a tough battle here.
I can look at yours
in the East, exactly, right? You have the in the East, you have guys, at least as of yesterday, tied at 102. Looks like Buffalo won last night, so they have 104 points. Tampa Bay 102. Montreal 102. That's a horse race there. In the Atlantic,
and a big difference in who they play. Both those teams would like to get one.
In terms of the #1 seed?
In where they sit in the playoffs when it happens. #1 plays the worst wild card team.
Yes.
#2 plays their division rival.
This is the issue right here. 1, 2, and 3. These guys, 104, 102, 102. 2 of these teams are playing each other early in the playoffs.
Yeah, and that's why you can't put much credence in it, because I don't know how it's going to look. I just know where I need to go fishing. You can see a bracket already if you want to see an NHL bracket based on how it looks now. But
it's going to change.
The bracket is so foundational in the College World Series and in the NHL playoffs, because you have to know how it looks and where they're seated in order to pick from the lowest hanging fruit. And so to try and do that now, you're playing a little bit of Aesop's fables, because you don't know who's who and where's where.
No, but it is important. Tampa Bay's on a 2-game losing streak in that second spot. And by doing so, like you said, they're going to have to play Montreal here coming up, as of now of how it's
What if they understand their position? They do have the cagiest coach in the NHL. They've won the Cup, 3 out of the last 8 years or something?
They're not afraid of Montreal.
And what if they're doing what I've been hearing you, and we talk about 2 sports, baseball and basketball. Well, if they sit the gosh darn guy down, let him rest for a couple days, well, maybe what if that's what they're doing?
Yeah, they're
what if they're sitting a few guys down and getting ready for what they know is a long grind? So my hockey bets are out there also. Yep. Those are public. That's Tampa Bay and Montreal in the East. They're both going to make the playoffs. Yep. So I tried to get ahead of the odds with them. They're both going to make the playoffs. So I'm competing. And then in the West, we have Minnesota, a team that is in a bloodbath if you consider what the bracket looks like.
Same issue.
Because Minnesota is probably going to have to play Dallas in the first round, and Dallas is regarded as the second-best team in the NHL behind Colorado. And then
Minnesota's hot right now.
And the winner of Dallas and Minnesota, should Minnesota get lucky enough to get by Dallas, has to take on the monster that is the Avs. So that path is brutal. And I didn't know the path when I made the releases. Yeah. If I could make the path, it'd be different.
So let me ask you a question about this, because over the decade or so that I've known you, you say there's regular season hockey, there's playoff hockey.
Yes, sir.
And are any of these top teams' wins during the regular season, do you see them struggling come playoff time, just the way the roster's constructed and the game changes in the playoffs? Or do you think all the good teams will have the same success in the playoffs?
I look at it a little differently than what you described, but the same thing. What I'm looking for is a team that hasn't really risen through and it doesn't look like the top of either division, but they've lost a whole bunch of overtime games.
Right.
Well, why would that matter? Because overtime's tiptoe 3-on-3 precision speed skating, with ballerina costumes on. In the NHL, it's 5-on-5 till someone wins, and usually certain teams that play from the goal out that struggle scoring struggled in the regular season. So I'm not afraid of I don't care if you score it all when I'm picking you for an NHL potential run. I only care if you can stop goals and have a great defense. After that, it's all I don't care.
Okay.
Because if they can't score on you, then you have advantage.
Right.
And I think I have 3 teams. Montreal's the loosest of them, but I have an affinity for Montreal. And that East can be wide open. They're going to hopefully be away from Tampa in that bracket. And Minnesota's got a hard job ahead of them. The West, the Pacific is nothing. I mean, I think when we get the final breakdowns.
Knights are on a 4-game winning streak with Tortorella as their coach.
Right. Yeah.
I knew he was going to react that way.
It ain't of all the. I've been on the high on the Knights for a long time, and I love Torts.
Yeah.
That's the funny thing. So I've been on the Knights every year. I love Torts. I just don't know if this is.
Yeah.
We'll see.
No, I agree. I know.
We'll
I just
see.
had that in my pocket there that they're 4-0 playing with them, and they were struggling before.
You won't catch any Gamblu.com money on the Knights.
So I laid
and
it
I
out
don't
there.
think you'll see any on the Avs unless it gets to the Cup final and they're pick 'em against Sisters of the Poor or some stupid.
But that's
thing like
because
that.
the Avs numbers are ridiculous.
I'm
right
trying
now,
to
right?
beat the Avs. How do you bet them at 2-1 to win it all? And first of all, their goaltending is still a little bit of a question mark. And if McKinnon pulls a hammy, you got trouble. So I got to find a way to beat that chalk in the West. That's what I was trying to do with Minnesota early on. And in the East, I got 2 solid teams, and we'll see where they position themselves.
And then you're not a basketball fan, but NBA playoffs coming up here. You're going to talk to your buddies about that and do any numbers?
I have a season at the beginning of the season. I took Oklahoma City to win the West.
Yeah,
I got some kind
solid
of
bet.
plus price, and everybody's telling me that Denver might beat them and whatever. My basketball guys.
No,
are saying.
they've secured the number 1 seed.
But
through
that
the
doesn't mean they're going to
playoffs.
win it.
That doesn't mean they're
My
gonna win
guys
the
are
West.
telling me San Antonio or Denver could beat them.
Really?
So
Could.
that's what they're saying.
Yeah.
My money's already been there.
But highly unlikely.
And it's just to win the West.
Yeah.
I tend to go conference. I want to get, I'm trying to get paid on these tickets, not just broadcast. I got 40-1. What good is 40-1 if you're ripping it up?
I also know you're not a fan, but does it irk you a little bit that the Coyotes were here so long and they just changed their name to the Utah Mammoth and all of a sudden they're in the playoffs?
No, not at all. I have an antiseptic approach to any of that. I'm no fan of anything any longer, except staying out of trouble at home. I'm a big fan of that.
Well, how's that working for you?
But
That's
the
bigger
culture,
question.
you have to see that there's such an unbelievable difference in culture for that team in its current location than what there was here.
Okay.
Unfortunately, here there are so many distractions because of the weather that is not a natural, especially where they located this. There was a lot done wrong with that whole thing.
Yeah.
There's a lot done right in Utah because for the most part they paid attention to what happened here, didn't do it. They have different culture, like I say, and it's an easy team to like. I think they could be live in their first round. I've been for a long time trying to find a hooded sweatshirt with a zip down that has a mammoth logo.
The logo
I
on it,
have brand new Seattle Kraken gear. When a new team comes out in anything except the NBA, I want to buy that gear and kind of wear it around. So I'm looking for a mammoth zip down. If anybody can find one on one of those goofy sites that's a 2X for a full figured guy that gravity hasn't been good to, let me know so I can go find that thing.
That is saying you don't see a lot of mammoth gear running around at all, but
It's or hockey gear, especially down here in Phoenix. So to me, or I wouldn't mind just getting some Sabres gear, even though I grew up Canadian.
Right. Well, hey, they got the nicest Zamboni in the league, the Mammoth.
The Mammoth.
Did you see their new Mammoth?
Oh, no, I haven't
new
seen
Zamboni?
that. Why is it?
It's a mammoth.
Oh,
It's got the
I love it.
It's got the mammoth head on it. Yeah, it's pretty
Beautiful.
amazing. They debuted it the other night, and then they went on to make a big comeback to win that game.
That's the kind of stuff that
but only half the fans can see it, Lou.
Oh, shut up. There's some obstructed view seats at the place they play.
Well, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
They're building something?
Yeah,
No, they're remodeling the Delta Center.
They'll fix it. Believe me, that ownership group has money and
they
long-term
they show with the
focus.
Jazz, don't they, Dale?
Well, I don't think that's the same ownership.
No, it is. No,
it
It is the
but-
same ownership.
Yeah,
Okay, then.
yeah. No, I just give him a hard time just because it's all Batman. It's what Batman said about.
But
Batman.
hockey's
That's why I'm
coming
going.
up. It's passion season. I lost like 11 units in hockey last year. I got shish kebabbed last year in hockey. So I'm looking forward to coming in with my elbows up, baby.
Anything else you want to add to sports before we get into the UFC?
I think we're good.
Perfect. Let's get into last week here as well. The big start here, middleweight bout. Trajan Gore from the MMA Lab. Lou, very impressive in his fight here. Plus 455 is what I got him at last week going into it. I don't know if it changed right before the fight.
I loved him.
Against Baker. Not only was he impressed, third round submission, not only was it an impressive fight, I mean, he came in and just made a name for himself, in my opinion, in this fight.
Well, he's a kid that fought in the final of the Ultimate Fighter, who's just has nothing but comes from the streets, raw talent, and deep down belief. He's now found Christianity, a gym that is really, I call it a gym because that's how everybody will recognize that he goes to this place to train at the MMA Lab. But it isn't a gym. He's found a family. And in that family, he's found a father figure, John Crouch, who's my dear buddy there. And I go there often to learn about the culture and the nuances of this game that I'm trying to learn everything about that you'll never be able to do. That said, Crouch regards these kids more like his own kids. And when I grew up, I needed a coach that would grab me by the face mask and was spitting in my face, yelling with his eyes all bloodshot. That's what motivated me. He would. I've never seen him do that. I don't think he can do that unless he's talking to a kid in the corner for some reason. But when he's at his gym and coaching these kids, he's a consultant and he's a father figure, and it's taken well with the young man Gore, and I could see it happening. And then they finally gave this Gore, instead of some killer, a kid he could handle. And the other kid was minus 700. He's the biggest favorite on the card. Yeah. We had Gore in a number of ways, and it's great because I have to come on here all the time and say, yeah, we went 2 and 3 and we lost a half a unit, or we won a unit, or we lost 2. But it's nice to hit one dead set on the center, right. And we hit a few of those last week, so not so bad.
Real quick, I just want to interject here because that's fascinating to me. The coaching wise, like I always responded to a coach coming up behind me and saying, "Dale, you're better than this." Dale,
talking to you,
Dale, I need more from you.
You never responded
that
from this.
You grab my face mask, yell and scream, spit in.
That's me, baby.
Get out of my face.
Yeah,
but you
really
come up
fun.
and say, "Dale, you're better than this."
Oh, baby.
Yeah.
That's how he handles. I've learned so much about him as a man by watching me, and I tell him every time I'm there, because number one, it's like going to the college homecoming. You walk around that college campus, everybody's 20. Hell, I feel like I'm 15, man. It's great. Well, when I go to that gym on Saturdays, here's all these kids could be out doing anything other than what they're doing, but no, they're focused. They're in trying to improve themselves. They're all in there helping each other in a family environment that listen to this guy tell them which two are going to get up there to spar. They don't beat each other's brains in. There's parameters, of course, but it's a perfect learning environment for me. And the residual is I've gotten to learn about my buddy, who is the sensei of the gym, and what a great coach he is and mentor to these young people.
Cool.
And that's the cool thing about team sports anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, but I don't remember the last time a plus 400 plus winner actually came through on the UFC. Usually,
he
yeah,
beat
and
Dale's
then
brains.
dominate the fight as well.
I
On
had
top
him
of it,
plus
it was pretty impressive.
Had him plus 500, and as a hedge, our bet, if you listen to the Bout Business podcast, was Gore plus 3.5 points plus
He did have that,
250,
yeah.
meaning that I really thought that if something happened, he'd fight a great fight, and then they'd screw him with some terrible kind of decision. But if it's a split decision, he loses. I win because of the points. But it's still, we'll talk about it in this week's card because I parlayed it into this week's card. But it still provided great advantage, and more than anything, it made me so proud of my coach, my buddy, the coach, the gym, the young man, Gore, that to see that his hard work's paying off. You could see, he says, I quit smoking weed 6 months ago. I was like, well,
Yeah, he was pretty. He explained a lot of that at the end. Yeah.
he wasn't as coachable early when he was there as he has been lately. I'll say that. And they got a kid at the gym named Jared Cannonier, who's a veteran championship level fighter that's fought in 3 weight divisions, taking this kid under his wing a little bit, helping him out. The young man, Gore, is getting great tutelage, and I think we have a chance of seeing him escalate.
Well, it's interesting because, so he stopped smoking weed. Now he starts listening to these people.
Yes.
And now he's starting to see success.
Momentum.
Whoa.
Think of the momentum that creates, yes. And you could hear him in the cage afterwards last week expressing.
He did, yeah.
Anyone that watched that understands what you just got.
That's crazy.
Yeah, no, I was really impressed. And it's rare that I see a kid from anywhere after a fight where you just go, man, that's something. It just strikes you every once in a while. And he did
so proud
from that side. And that was an early, it's almost like a shame that was an early prelim fight because how many people missed that as it went on. But a lot of other big fights, lots of knockouts, bunch of decisions. But I want to ask you about Werner Jandiroba against Tabitha Ricci. Ended up being a unanimous decision here in this fight. But did it change your mind at all on Jandiroba in this fight?
No, in fact, Steve is such a great pro. He just lobbed me up a nice big softball.
Don't give him that.
Because in the article I said, how is Jandiroba she comes minus 170. They bet her down to pick him right away.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay, but what am I missing here? I even wrote, the market sees this, but I don't see that. I said, we're taking Jandiroba now this is the bottom price she could possibly be, unless they amputated her leg and we don't know about it. Then I make a mistake. But she went out and just was too big and too strong for the other girl who's undersized for the division. The other girl's a terrier, but she's too undersized. So we were able to get that
size
one.
difference.
And it was a
huge.
big unit of win for us there. That was a good one.
Does it change your opinion on Ricci at all going into this? Just size difference. She was dominated in this fight, but I also feel like she kind of held her own to get it to that decision and things to that effect. No, Faith?
No, I agree. I totally agree.
Okay.
She totally held her own. Yeah. She's a little pit bull, and I think this helps her because this is her first taste of top 6 elite competition in the division. And now she knows what's expected. She's a strong consideration for a bet 4 in her next fight, depending on who we see.
Yeah, I mean, she lost a fight. I mean, like I said, there's no other way to say I thought she was dominated, but it could have gone sideways quickly for her, and it just didn't throughout it. It was impressive.
Her well-roundedness was great because Jandiroba couldn't get her out on the ground.
Exactly.
That's what she can others. So that was a good one. That was a big win.
And then you went into Moicano Duncan. Man, this fight ended almost before it began. I know it went second round, 3 minutes into it. Submission here. Moicano gets the win. I was high on Duncan going to this. I believe you were as well, or at least you liked him in this fight, at least when we talked last Thursday. But Moicano getting that submitted win.
Yeah, actually, Bout Business had Duncan in 2 different half-unit parlays. So he puts us back a full unit. Now, Duncan closes minus 192. That's why I don't bet 192 to win 1 because now I'm losing 2 to only win 1 where I had Duncan here. Had he won, we pick up way more money than on the half unit than we would have bet on it. And so minimizing potential loss is as important as maximizing your hopeful return or expectation. So we minimized with Duncan there. And that's a handicap where you just got to say that's a complete miss because I read that fight completely incorrect.
Yeah, well, that's my question, Duncan. I mean, he
didn't show well
Yeah.
there. Now his next fight,
I don't know how to put it
probably
into
going to get
words.
a different price. And who's he going to fight? He is a tough Scot that can stand in the pocket. So
he's impressed me in the past. That's why I was
right.
so shocked at how fast this went. And Lou, I went into the other room and came back, and this fight was over. And I was like, "What just happened?"
Oh no, Moicano had it here from the beginning. He just went and took it, and that good for him. Again, Moicano's probably a fade moving forward. Duncan could be a bet on, depending who it is.
That's why I was so disappointed.
I got a question for you because I hear it all the time when you're talking about these fights. How you read a fight. And to me, it's like I used to do some horse racing. I talked to old horse racing people about, 1 and 3, they jump out and they'll pinch off the number 2 and
who gets the lead? Do they rate?
Right.
Are they coming from behind? All that bullshit.
I never understood. If one of the horses pooped before the race, I bet on that one. But that's my. But when you say you read a fight, is it the style of fighter they are? Is it the what are you reading when you say you missed this particular read?
Yeah, I love. That's a great question because the dinosaur that I am, my answer is going to be completely different than the people that are really being catered to with the UFC, and that's the demographic that's 40 years old and younger, who are driven by analytics. And what they get with analytics is they go from no understanding to great understanding because of the importance of math and numbers and statistics. There's no arguing what a great contributor analytics can be to a sporting outcome. But yes, it is. But it's only part.
Right.
And it's part of the whole car. It's the steering wheel, and you got a rear view mirror. That's the trends. The trends tell you everything happened before. But you're driving the car and you're looking straight ahead through a windshield here. You have to use all of your tools. And I would just say that those analytics guys eventually get experience and gain on. So they tell you about the numbers. And now to answer your question, and I always talk about, give me a really tall, skinny Ugandan fighter, and let's pit him against a short little guy from the jungles of Peru and see what kind of to get different sized men that weigh the same with different attributes physically, different attributes in the terms of their fight arsenal, and then put them together from different parts of the world. You've never seen each other before and handicap a fight. To me, that's what I try and do. And so I have to understand your height, your length, your reach, who you fought, how those fights have looked, because I have that data, but I want to see how the guy fought. Was he a front runner? Was he getting the breaks beat out of him, but he wouldn't succumb to losing, and he came back and knocked out every guy? I mean, what did each picture look like beforehand? And so I take the data and construct how he wants to win and what his coaches are instructing him to do against this man based on what they know of this man, which is not much more than what I know of him. We've watched film of him, right?
Right.
And to do that each way. And so, yes, I try and project based on body type and fight arsenal how the fight's going to look when they get together. Sometimes I'm really very, very accurate, and sometimes you'd think, hey, you know that guy you had on the show last week, get rid of him. He couldn't find his rear end with 2 hands and an Indian guy. I mean, it's sometimes, and that's what I see. I watch a fight sometimes, and I'll miss it so bad that I've touted. And I'll say, I mean, here's one that's just like, you wonder if I've ever done this before.
Yeah, but we do that. We do that all the time. Like I nailed the Monday night college basketball game, but I can also think of the 3 other times I said a game's going to go a certain way, like the Arizona game against Michigan. You just totally misread it. You know?
Hey,
it happens all the time out there. And then you're even more obscure because you're dealing with individual guys. You don't see how they train leading up to it. You don't see their mindset and more so to that effect. So it's got to be more difficult.
Those that will follow me close will understand that if there's a card of bets, here's last week's because it's all marked up with, here's this week's. And then I have each fight broken down. This fight card, I am going to go down to some of the prelims because the fight matchups are so good and the athletes are so good. You know all these guys. Almost.
I do. Yeah, I'm excited for this fight. There's
Everyone.
not a fight on this card. I might not know both the fighters, but there's somebody fighting in each one. That's what I was telling Dale earlier. There's somebody fighting that I've seen fight before. I recognize their name, and I don't know what their matchups are. They could be 800,000 favorites. It doesn't matter. It's people that I see. And if you guys want, let's just skip the break and go right into it. You guys good?
We're good.
Well, we got to check with old man Dale over here and
I'm
see if
good.
he's ready
I am
to go.
fine.
Right off the bat, we get and also big fighters here in this
throw
fight.
Dale under the bus.
I know,
Dale.
well, no,
I'm just looking at Twitter here, and you're all over the place, Lou. An hour ago, you're talking about DeChambeau, and he's not made for the Masters. You're talking about hockey. You're talking about fight. You're all over.
I'm a drop of oil on a
I
hot
know
skillet.
we got to get Dale into his Saturday night watching some of these fights as well. But a lot of big guys fighters, a lot of light heavyweights, a couple of heavyweights in this fight. So we got some power coming. I'm kind of excited about that. But we start off with the welterweight Charles Radke, Francisco Prado in this fight, Argentinian against a U.S. fighter here to start off the evening in the early prelims. UFC 327, by the way, from Miami, Florida, 6 p.m. start time.
Yeah, Prado, the kid from Argentina, has lost his last 3 or 4, and he's a bulldog. He just goes in, chin up, and throws. Once somebody he's like that wild horse that back in the cowboy days they'd have to get 8 horses and cowboys around it, get enough rope around the thing's neck, and finally break the horse. That's what this Prado kid is. You're gonna try and break him into being a real good fighter. Yeah, the difference is he's going against this sawed-off shotgun Radke, who's just got too much UFC experience, and I think will school this young kid. Prado, dangerous at 23 years old, but still learning so much. Fighting Radke, 35, so there is 12 years difference. It leans heavily to Prado's favor. That said, when you're only 23 and you're coming in with a couple of losses, and you're going against a guy in the UFC that's grizzled and needs a win. He's been in against much better. So I think that is a tough task for Prado.
Before you go any further, real quick, I love to ask you this question. It's in Florida. Miami is in Florida.
Yes,
My
sir.
Geography class at SMU
Yes,
told
sir.
me that. The Florida Gaming Commission. Thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs.
They're not terrible.
Okay.
They're not Texas or New Jersey by any means, so you're safe. But really, the judging now with this Paramount thing has to be watched very closely everywhere and every week.
Meaning because it's more about the entertainment than maybe who actually won the fight?
Meaning it's important for me to understand which fighter may attract a lot of eyeballs and which one may not, especially if they're pitted against each other. Because I'll want to know if that fight's line 2.5 rounds over minus 250, like it's going to go to decision, then I would sure rather be having a ticket on the guy the UFC wants to see move on than not.
Okay.
I hate to say that's come in. That I used to say that came into boxing,
right? And you got out
in the 80s, and I got out because of it. And I'm just seeing the little teeny tiny embryo of some of that with this new Paramount deal. So I hate to say that it's become part of my handicapping, but yeah, it kind of has.
Okay.
Hey, on this Radke Prado fight, over under is over 1.5, minus 215 to the over there. So longer fight, or because you said Prado likes to stick his nose in there and see what happens on his last 3 fights here. The over 1.5 seems to be minus 215, so that's what people are facing.
Well, yes, that means it could be a finish. I don't know if I see it.
Okay. That's why I was curious on your opinion there. Then next in the early prelims, you got Gastelum, a middleweight fight here against Vicente Luque here, Brazil versus the United States as well going into this fight.
Luque fought most of his career at 170. This is his first fight at 185, and he's 34 years old. Going to be 2 inches taller, have a 4-inch reach advantage. And the Luque of old, this fight wouldn't happen because he'd stay at 170. But this is the Luque of new, and he's lost his last 3 or 4 all by getting tagged. He's not as durable as he used to be, and he gets in wars. it's because of the wars he's been in and the shots he's taken that he can't take them anymore. And a guy in Gastelum who's going to be shorter, more compact and powerful. Gastelum is the dictionary picture next to the fighter that had all the talent in the world and didn't apply it because he's struggled with weight his whole career, and that could be something mental or physical or physiological. I'm not trying to criticize a guy if he's got a problem, but that's never come out. What has come out is he could never make 170, and they made him move to 185, and he moved to 185. He's fought a few fights there, and then last time out, he missed weight at 185. The guy's a complete chazer, or El Gordo, as they call him in Spanish. He doesn't train or prepare appropriately, but he's got talent leaking out of his rear end, and he's tough. He's fought Adesanya. He's in the UFC Hall of Fame for a fight against Adesanya. He's durable.
He fought Pfeiffer a couple of fights ago.
He doesn't really have a ton of power, but he's past his prime as well, and you don't know what you're going to get till you get on the scale. So in this fight here, if both guys make weight and show up and everything, I would expect Gastelum will either knock him out, which is improbable, or win a one-sided decision, which is probable. Luque's only chance is to tackle him and get him down.
Yeah, Gastelum, his last 3 fights, and one of them was Pfeiffer a couple fights ago, looked like all decisions as well for him in this fight. That's why the over-under on this is 2.5, minus 140 to the over. A lot of people do see the decision coming, at least on those numbers. Next up in the early prelims, you got Chris Padilla, Markel Maderos here, 2 United States fighters battling it out. Lightweight. We go small here, Lou.
Well, smaller. Padilla's long, lean, 1, 3, or 4, and won his last 7. He'll have a reach and height advantage, and he comes in with great momentum. Maderos hasn't been seen from for a while, but he last beat a very talented fighter and a guy named Oki. He's a plus 170 or so. He fights here out of the MMA lab, and I think while he's shorter and not as long, he's the right side. I think his footwork, his well-roundedness, and his body attack will be the difference against a taller, longer guy here.
So I'm sorry, you were talking about Maderos out of the MMA lab as well under this fight?
That's correct.
Plus 130 right now for him is what it's come down.
His way, don't wait.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. If you said 170 to start, 130 now for him.
That's what I think. I released him on the webpage Tuesday at, I think it was 170.
Yeah, so there we go on that fight. That was the early prelims. Then we get into the regular prelims here. We start off with the women's fight. My gal, Lupi Godinez, is the first fight here against Suarez. Tatiana Suarez here, women's strawweight bout.
Yeah, 2.5 over, minus 350.
Both
worse. Wrestlers.
By
next
the way,
fight.
Minus 500 over 2.5 now. So
one of them wins the decision. Next fight.
Gamrot and Ribovics battling this one out. Poland and Argentina battling it out.
Yeah, and different styles make fights here. So this is what we were just talking about, because Ribovic, the Argentine fighter, comes in and he is Mr. Volume, crazy man, throws punches from every angle, kicks, Tasmanian devil-like. Not overly powerful, but needs it to be on the feet. Gamrot has been in with better, has more UFC experience, and with that age, he's 6 years older at 35 years old than Ribovic. And they both train in gyms in Florida that are competing. Gamrot comes in with vice grip wrestling and adequate striking. So he's going to need to smother Ribovic, get this fight to the ground, and control him, because he doesn't really want to stand around and take too many shots flush on the chin. So a week ago, we took our friend Gore at 3.5 points plus 250, and we boomeranged him into Mr. Gamrot, who was then minus 170. I don't have my notes in front of me.
He was, and he's minus 192 right now.
A week ago, but a week ago when we bet him, I'll have to look at it. Doesn't matter, because of the Gore plus 250 makes that parlay half a unit to win like 3 units. So we stand in great shape owning Gamrot, currently the minus 190 favorite
Mm-hmm.
at a huge plus price. Thank you, Trayshawn Gore, but not all our work is done. But I do like Gamrot here because of his experience and his wrestling.
Towards the decision on this one, over under 2.5, -2. Looks like 280 to the over right now for Gamrot because he's gonna wrestle him a little bit and keep it on the ground for a lot of this fight. Well, at least that's his plan.
Yeah, the question is, can Rivovitz keep him from subbing him? I don't know. I don't have a comment on the.
Yep. Kevin Holland and Randy Total here coming up. Welterweight bout here. Jamaica and a United States fighter.
Randy Brown. And these are two long, lean guys. Brown, quiet, determined, forward pressing. Holland, always flapping, crap talking, shucking and jiving, touching and jiving, but can submit you and scrap a little bit. Randy Brown maybe not as strong on the ground. Will Holland try and get it there? I'm not sure. But it'll be interesting to see two guys, long, lean, athletic, both can move, and one guy going to be talking and flapping around, the other guy trying to walk him down and knock his head right off. So it should be a really interesting fight. Holland's the crap talker, Randy Brown, the Jamaican, coming in to hit him. I lean to Randy Brown. Don't have a strong opinion on the fight.
Yeah, right now they're basically even -110 odds for both of them
And
on
that's
the
how they
money
open.
line. So, oh really? So it hasn't moved at all.
It did during the
it did,
week
and
towards
then
Brown.
fluctuated
Now it's
back.
come back.
Yeah, and then the over/under on that's 2.5, -145 to the over
Yeah.
for people that pay attention to that.
Yes, sir.
As well. Then we got Patricio Pitbull back in the ring against Aaron Pico here. Last prelim fight here before we get to the main events.
Pico's younger, bigger, stronger, more athletic at this point. Ferrier, 38 years old, but he has that natural power. But that at 145, the power doesn't translate the same as it does at heavyweight. And so Pico is going to do his best to keep Ferrier, on the Pitbull, on the outside and take him down and wrestle him up and protect his chin by not letting him try and touch it. And Pitbull is going to do everything he can do to keep this fight standing and try and touch Pico because he believes if he can, he'll knock him out. And Pico's got a balsa wood beak. There it is. I knew you were waiting for it.
Did you see
I knew
Daly
you were
was-
waiting for
He
it.
was
We had a
leaning
perfect
into that,
opportunity.
right? He was leaning into that on top of it, yes. So that's for the final match there, just for the people counting at home. -305 odds for Pico. Right now, over-under's 1.5, -188 to the over right now for this last prelim fight before the main event.
I'd say over. That fight probably goes to decision.
For that one. And then next up, our main events here. You got Cub Swanson, Nate Landwehr here, United States fighters battling it out. Featherweight bout to start the main card. Excuse me.
Swanson's last fight, it's retirement. Landwehr, Nate the Train Landwehr. The guy's just a wrecking ball. The public loves him. Swanson, much more technical, fluid moving on the feet. I love Landwehr, but I think this might be a good fight for Swanson. But again, he's 42, fighting at 145, giving up 5 years to Landwehr. All the numbers say Landwehr. My heart says Landwehr, and therefore I will pass on this fight.
Yeah, by the way, for people scoring at home, Landwehr's -115. Cub Swanson's -105 right now as well. Even the over-under, 2.5, -120 to the over, -110 to the under. This is a pretty even fight, at least if you look at the odds here as well, going into this fight to start the main event. Dominic Reyes and Johnny Walker battling it out, United States and Brazil.
Both long, both tall, both really chinny, both powerful, neither wrestle. This will be the fight you don't want to miss on the card.
Light heavyweight, by the way.
Yeah,
big guys.
Big boys that are going to stand and bang, and each guy's going to try and knock the other guy out. Look at that total, 1.5 shaded to the under. So you know that
-210, yeah.
You know one guy knocking the other guy out. This could be a good spot for Walker, who is coming off a win. He's an underdog, fights well as an underdog. Going to have a 5-inch reach advantage. He's younger, and he's going to have a slight height advantage. Reyes isn't used to fighting someone taller and longer than him. He hasn't had success doing it. And I think as chinny as Walker is, both guys are chinny. I think his length serves him better, and he's got good defense, enough defense to get to Reyes before Reyes gets to him.
Perfect. Yeah, that over-under is 1.5 minus 210 to the under. Walker right now plus 124. Reyes minus 148 here on DraftKings as we talk. Next up, we got a fight I'm really looking forward to. I like him. I like Curtis Blades. I know his deficiencies, but I like him. Then you even got Josh Hokett here battling it out. Like both these guys, right now, Blades is a minus 125 favorite, Lou. Heavyweight bout.
Yeah, Blades is a legit top 5 talent in the UFC, but because he's such a heavy wrestler with great cardio and balsa wood beak, the UFC really doesn't favor him, and they give him terribly tough matches, and all he does is get PO'd and usually win, unless the other fighter can find his chin, and if they can flush him on the chin, they can knock him out. And so that always adds intrigue to the fight. This fight opens Curtis Blades minus 160, Josh Hokett plus 140. Hokett's new on the scene. He's acting like Randy Macho Man Savage. He's bringing that aspect to the UFC. The UFC loves it. They want to promote him. They want him to beat Blades and move on up the ladder. And so they give him Blades. And meanwhile, Blades, again, a legitimate top 5 in the division, except for that chin, is incensed. Blades is as incensed by getting this young kid again as I am in him getting this young kid. And Hokett's being served up too much too soon. This will be his PhD in MMA because Blades is simply going to smear this guy all over the canvas in this fight. Hokett shows up to fights at 240, 242 pounds. He's ex-NFL player. He's highly athletic, going to be nimble on his feet, got natural power in his hands, can knock a building over if he hits you. So if Blades goes in chin first and this guy flushes him, he'll knock Blades to a quiver. But I think Blades is PO'd, and his wrestling dominance is going to show here. I'm strong on Blades. Took him minus 125 earlier in the week. I think he's minus 135
He's
now.
125 right now, minus 125 right now on DraftKings.
That's a run, don't walk.
For Blades there. The interesting thing about I think I'm looking it up right now, Lou. Blades, I think he did fight Aspinall a couple of fights ago, and that was the one where that was a quick out for him, and he got touched. Other than that, he's got a decision, and then, of course, he knocked out Almeida there.
And that made him and Aspinall 1-1, so he beat Aspinall. And his only losses are to guys that are top 5 talent in heavyweight that have touched him. And Hokett, if he touches him, he'll put him out. Perfect. I just don't think he can touch him.
I don't think he can get to that point. Azamat
Mirzakunov against Paulo Costa. Costa moves up to 205 from 185. He's a clown, kind of like Hokett, only a Brazilian clown, and he's trying to use his vivacious personality to attract attention and do well. He's been out of the UFC graces, and so I think this kind of evolution of him wants to make fights and wants to get after it, but he's fought at his career at 185. He's taken this fight at 205 against a sturdy, tough Russian who comes in with momentum. And so jumping up that weight class is interesting. The guy's been uneven in some of his fights. There's a lot of unknown here, but at the end of the day, what's the price on Mirzakunov?
Minus 205.
Yeah, I mean, if I were to make a parlay, it would be hard to keep Mirzakunov minus 205 out as one leg. I think I lean to him. I can't trust Costa.
So just one quick question. Do you tend to not like guys who yap a lot? Showboaters?
Yeah, I tend to hate them.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean I won't bet on them.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask. Does it affect?
Yeah, no, it can't affect that. What I prefer is when I find some yapper against some veteran who going to be clinched down on just not say nothing, and he just going to wait and let Saturday night do the speaking. That's the one I like.
Okay.
And even though Padilla's not a talker, I think that's what we're getting. I think we got a lot of public on Padilla, and this kid Markel Madero's going to show a lot of people something as an underdog when this fight goes Saturday night.
The thing that's interesting to me is, when you look at jumping up the weight class against stronger, bigger guys that are naturally fighting at that level, that's a worrisome thing to me from a lower guy coming in.
I think it should be, yeah. To me, too, because the bigger guy has already felt the power of guys.
And you're not going to hit as hard as the guys he's been fighting, right?
And the bigger guy comes in at 05 and then competes at, 218.
Yeah.
And so the guy at 175, he has a lesser of a cut, but is he that big a man? And if he is, how can he carry that weight?
Yeah, that's
over 15 minutes of exertion.
Yeah. That was what I took away from what you were saying was, holy cow, that's a big jump up.
I think that's the logical
right? That's a light heavyweight bout as well.
We're making a fight fan out of Steve.
Oh, yeah.
I love it.
He comes in and you should hear him stumbling over names, but he knows what he's kind of talking about. I just don't understand who he's talking about.
Well, he's watched it and he gets it.
Yeah, no, it's funny too because I'll see their names like we're talking about them, and I'll be like, I don't know who that is, and then I'll watch the fight. I'll be like, oh, I know who that is. I know who that guy is, which is what I run into here because Prochazka has cut his, at least in his pictures, cut his little ponytail off on the top. So I love him even more now because that thing was ridiculous that he used to wear. Of course, that's the main fight here against Oldberg here in this light heavyweight title bout. So you have, by the way, folks, you have in this a light heavyweight in the main card, right into a heavyweight, into a light heavyweight, into the light heavyweight main event as well. Big boys, a lot of power battling it out here to finish this UFC 327 from Miami.
Did you say Oldberg? Is this the golfer? Is he going to fly in from the Is he going to fly in from the Masters?
This is Oldberg from Australia. Okay. Black Jag, as he calls himself. And he comes from a great gym. He comes in with great momentum. He's a precise, stand-up, meticulous, detail-oriented, follow-the-plan fighter. And he's in against this Prochazka, who is a Czech warrior, who is the king of improvisation. Nothing he does is precise or planned. Everything is wild Tasmanian devil craze. And he comes with kicks, jumps, spinning elbows, cartwheels. If Nadia Comaneci can do it, so can this guy too. I'm telling you, it's going to be a fabulous case of two men who neither one is going to wrestle. They can't wrestle. They don't wrestle. And two strikers are going to get it on in a big cage. They're big men and go after it. And it'll be fascinating to watch which style wins. But at the end of the day, Prochazka has lost to one man twice in the last 10 years. Everyone else he is defeated inside the distance. Or in the case of his two defeats, he was defeated inside the distance. But that was Pereira. And so this is Oldberg coming in, who has fought in his last three fights ranked guys, but not near the kind of competition Prochazka's seen. I have to lean to Prochazka in the fight, though it's probably one because of other opportunities that I'm not going to have to bet. But I lean to Prochazka, but more importantly, as a fight fan, I'm fascinated to see those two styles compete. Yeah. Australian against Czechoslovakia, one with one mental attitude, the other with another. That's what trips my trigger about the fights.
Hey, by the way, you just showed your age. When you said Nadia Comaneci. We've had a couple gold medalists.
Everybody's saying, who the hell is Nadia
1972,
Comaneci?
by the way.
I should have said Jesse Owens.
Prochazka,
I couldn't come up with a young one. I don't know any of them.
He's a 112 favorite. By the way, Oldberg right now is minus 108 as well. Over unders 2.5 in this in a 5-round fight. Minus 115 to the over and the under in this fight. So everybody's kind of questioning that. But I tend to go with you. I tend to lean toward the guy that just knocks everybody out in a fight like this because I think I would lean toward the unscripted side of it over in a scripted side because he can be more flexible compared to a guy that's more scripted and goes by the plan. Am I thinking right on that?
Well, I wouldn't think that way, but I'm not going to tell you how to think. Yeah. What I think is which guy has seen the better athlete and the better competition before, and that's one guy, and that's who I tend to lean with in it.
Okay.
Unless there's way too old, unless there's some other situation.
Here's the thing that you guys don't even realize. I mean, it's such a joy to sit over here and watch to watch two bald men have differences of opinion.
Actually,
Thought
Steve
you
would never
agreed on
say
things.
that before. I like when he puts himself out there because, quite honestly, he could be right. Again, sometimes I miss him hemispherically, and I don't always know. That's why we're always learning.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's going to be a fun fight weekend from Miami. Early prelims 2, prelims at 3 and 4, 6 for the main card here at Phoenix time as well. Lou, anything else before you take off?
Markel Medeiros.
Dale, anything from you? You hung around on a Thursday. You made it.
I miss this. I miss Lou.
Yeah, that was fun. Thanks for staying.
Dale and I will get you going tomorrow as well. Come and join us, would you? Pit Stop will be up later on today, everybody. Have a great Thursday.